And lastly, Colin, your vision, please, for the Greater Auckland.
Thank you. I'm very glad that you introduced that as a question for Greater Auckland, because my vision is for Greater Auckland, not for a super city. Auckland has developed in a campus style. There are many cities and there are rural areas, significant rural areas now included. I've broken my vision for Auckland down into three things. Keeping it lean, which means that we can afford what we're doing. There are some great ideas, but at the end of the day, the ratepayers that pay the bills just may not be able to afford them. So we've got to do what we can manage on a budget. I recognise there are fantastic long-term visions. My vision, though, is we do what's affordable. Secondly, it's local. It's about keeping unique local areas. It's not about gathering power at the centre of Queen Street. It's about giving every area its ability to determine its own future. We understand things locally. We work locally. Most people, if you say, let's go to the local shops, don't jump in a car and drive to Queen Street. We need to keep the city in touch with the people because the city is the people. Finally, of course, it's about keeping it fair. I do believe in referendum. I think we need to engage people in this process. There is a disconnect here. Why does, for every one Aucklander that supports this concept, two don't? We have missed the boat as far as the people go. And so my vision is very simple. We reconnect with the people of the city. And that's how we go forward. There is no other way to go forward. And we do what they can afford. We do what they want. We empower them at a local level. It's not some big vision imposed on people. It's about empowering individuals and communities, and they drive it where they want to go. And that way it's a city we want to live in. And that's the best Auckland that we can have.
Fine, thank you very much. A very warm round of applause for Colin. And a question of Colin. Gosh, come on, you're lively, intelligent, passionate Aucklanders. Well, I'll wind you up in due course. Okay, that's very good. So, Jason, after that, first of all, thank you to the candidates for that first round with everybody giving us a sense of their vision. Jason, some more themes that have been coming through on tweeting. What would you like to draw our attention to?
There's a message from Robin somebody, and it says only one candidate website of the 7 includes disability issues.
That's my one.
Which candidate?
Mine.
I assume you don't have a joint site, so...
Not yet.
Not yet. Deputy Mayor, perhaps, one of you?
Yeah,
no, anyway.
Yeah. I need 4 deputies,
well,
so he could
let's
be
hear
one
about
of them.
disability from the two of you. Simon first.
Well, 250,000 people live with disability in Auckland, and I have myself been instructed on this. I made many assumptions that the society that we live in is accessible to the disabled, and I discovered that in fact this isn't the case, that on many public transport you can't get a wheelchair on there. We're about to host a Rugby World Cup, and we're the host nation, but we're the only nation that doesn't provide captioning for deaf viewers. I mean, this to me seems an extraordinary thing. I mean, I was shocked and ashamed at my own assumption here, and the fact that 250,000 people live with this disability. Their access to information for this very election is hampered by the fact that we don't provide for them. I have, as part of my policy, a disability advisory panel alongside the ethnic Maori and Pacific panel.
Fine, thank you. Andrew.
Yes, I've had a disability all my life, and I'm very aware of what it is to have a disability. And last year I then broke my leg, and that even more emphasised a disability. And going around in a wheelchair and on crutches for 2 or 3 months last year was not a pleasant thing. Shortly after that, we released our disability strategy on the North Shore, a very comprehensive paper, and which I had the introduction to, and it really has brought it home that we have a no exceptions rule now. We've put it out. There should be no exceptions. You should not be prohibited from doing anything because of a handicap or some disability in society. And I think that's what the future of Auckland has to be. We have to be a city that says we will have no exceptions and everyone will have equal access, regardless of their abilities.
Fine, thank you very much indeed. Now, So we've done the vision thing, much better than George Bush, I would hasten to add. And some very good themes came out in terms of the potential for Auckland, and of course the views ranged from overthrow the new system to build it in various ways. So that's a very nice cross-section of views, so you've got voter choice there already. So now let's move on to the second question, which is, when we were looking at the new structure, it was very clear that there's going to be a huge amount to learn about how we relate and how the Auckland Council and the Mayor relates to the local boards, and what powers and duties they would delegate and resources they would delegate to those local boards in order to generate that very strong grassroots engagement and sense of empowerment. So that's the question. It's about how will you help build those grassroots democracy, engagement and empowerment. So the speaking order in this time is, first of all, Andrew, over to you.
Well, that's very appropriate, Rod, because I'm the only one of the candidates here who has been elected to be a mayor, who's been elected to be a community board member, and who's been elected to be a city councillor, all at individual elections. So I'm very proud of that I've seen the various phases of local government in the Auckland area, and I've sat on at those various levels, and I've seen what they can do and also what they can't do. And I've seen what they can do if they're empowered, and I've seen what they can do if they're given the responsibility to get on with those functions and roles. And certainly as mayor, I would be following through on that background to being in the community and giving as much powers as we can at the local level, so that the word local in local government really does mean that. And this has to be all about letting the local communities get on with what they need to do at the local level and leave the Auckland Council to do the big picture stuff. Most of the problems across Auckland have been about the big picture stuff, the lack of connectivity, the lack of the rollout of all the big infrastructure stuff across Auckland. So the Auckland Council really has to concentrate on that and leave the grassroots to get on with the local issues. So I would be very, very much in favour of that. Now, in the last 12 months, you'll also be aware that in the submissions to both the Royal Commission and then to the government when they came out with their plan, my council, and with me leading it, we have been one of the ones who have strongly advocated for more responsibility to the local boards. We pushed and pushed and pushed for that, and we're very pleased because on the 9th of April, when Rodney Hyde came out with his 34-page report in response to the 900-page Royal Commission report, his 34-page report said that the local boards would do brothels, graffiti and dog control. And that sort of was about how far Rodney saw it going. Over the last year, we have really pushed back on the government, really pushed back on Rodney Hyde, and look at the outcome now, where the Auckland Transition Agency is seriously drawing up the designations and the delegations for those boards to come out in the next month or so. And now we're seeing a long list of delegations to those boards that will be left with the local communities. And the key thing in all this, Rod, is that the local communities have got to take control of that too. What we need to do is have the community stand up and say, this is our local board, this is our community, we want to achieve things in our local community, we want to work for the interests of our local board, get in behind those board members, get in behind their local board, take their aspirations, take their hopes of their community through to their local board, get their board working and then cooperating with the council to get good achievements right across the region. And again, therefore, the 21 boards will be critical to bring the local aspirations through, and as mayor, I certainly will be, from a background of being a community board member, very, very strong on that.
Fine, thank you very much indeed.